Good evening, my people. It's your boy, Jesus Christ. Today is a special one. This one is for everybody. This one is going to awaken everyone, unless you just want to be dead. Because I'm about to bring you eye opening knowledge. I need everyone to fully listen and then rebuttal. Don't get caught up talking to yourself in the middle of this, or you're going to get lost. Now, you have the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, Kemetic writings, and you have the Enuma Elish. Now, we think one of these books has to be right and the rest has to be wrong. It all depends on what book you follow. Now, I want to be clear. Each book is accurate. They are not lies. The problem is not the books. The problem is men reading the books, forgetting about perspective. See, perspective is very important. Now, let's go with the Bible, just to make a point right quick. Now, when you're reading the Bible, someone who's not a Christian will tell you the Bible is fake. It doesn't even make sense. And they're right. But that's because the perspective that they are reading it from. And this is not to say Christians read it with the right perspective, because no one has read it with the right perspective. But I'm going to show you exactly how perspective is the most important thing in grasping knowledge. Now, you have to understand, these books are men's perspectives of events that happen in history. So now you take, for instance, the story of Moses and Ramses. Now, this is an actual story, let's say. Moses and Ramses had their little tip to tap or whatever, where Moses was fleeing from Ramses with a bunch of slaves that he freed. So Moses freed slaves and was fleeing from the Pharaoh with these slaves. Now, the person who wrote the account of this event was a religious minded person, meaning anything that happens has to have God, in the sense that they believe in, attached to it. Now, to understand me better, you have Hurricane Katrina. When Hurricane Katrina swept across New Orleans and the Mississippi's, religious people said that was God that did that, because the people in Mississippi were in the voodoo and all of this bullshit, blah, 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 and that was the word of God, and that was God bringing that down on that land. Now, is that right or wrong? No. The actual event that they said was right. Now, the part about God is their perspective. Now, if you don't believe in God in the sense of the way they do, you would just tell the event exactly how they did, minus saying God was a part of it. So we have to understand, when we're reading the Bible or any book, you have to put perspective into it. When Paul was telling scribes the story of Jesus, and was writing it, they was writing it through the perspective that Paul was telling it. So now, a person nowadays will say Jesus is not real. Jesus is real. Jesus was an enlightened man from 2,000 years ago who was trying to tell people who were stuck in religion and looking at God as some man type being. He was trying to tell them, you are like me. We are spiritual beings. We came from the mighty all. He called it the Father. When I die, I am going to return to the Father. Now, when he's explaining this to Paul and them, Jesus, these motherfuckers are religified. They cannot grasp anything without God being included the way they see God. So now when they describe Jesus in the writings, they tell his history accurately. They just put God in that sense in it because they don't understand what Jesus is saying. Their perspective of Jesus is what they wrote. So you have to understand how to separate the history from the person's perspective. Was Jesus the Son of God? Yes. We all come from the mighty all. Can you tell that to someone who's stuck in religion? Of course not, because they cannot grasp that. They have to see it as if he is the Son of God, then that means God is a man. And Jesus was not speaking to these people in that manner. But that's the manner they perceived it in. But it has nothing to do with Jesus. It has to do with the whole Bible. See, whoever documented the story of Jonah in the well, they documented the history accurate. Something happened. Jonah was abducted by some type of vehicle in the water. Whoever wrote it down wrote it how they perceived it. Now, is that person wrong? No. Is the history wrong or lost? No. It's right there. You just won't accept it because you don't follow that and you're looking at it through the perspective of religion. The books are not religion. Religion uses the books. You got to understand the Bible covers from about 1500 BC to about 30 AD. The people during this times was the same as the people in these times. Stuck on religion, a whole bunch of different religions. So when Jesus came about, they was retelling his story through their perspective. Their perspective is wrapped around religion. So Jesus had to be how they told him. But if you're smart enough to understand God, the mighty all, then you understand that their perspective was wrong. But the history that they told you was accurate. See, you have to understand, God is like this. See, they say time started when the Big Bang started. All everything started to exist when the Big Bang started. And this is their perspective is confusing. God is like a fistful of nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, and all other types of invisible materials that are real. Now, all of these materials are bundled up in one big knot. The Big Bang, this is God, that one big knot of everything. God lets the knot go. He lets everything go on its separate course. Now hydrogen is separate from oxygen. And nitrogen is separate from those two. Everything is separate now. Now when you have these separate things mingle in with one another, you get physical things manifesting. Example, when oxygen mixes with hydrogen and whatever the fuck 2 is, you get H2O. You get physical water from these two invisible properties. So this is what God is, a bundle of life and invisible properties. The Big Bang is God releasing these things so that they can manifest and mingle with each other separately or how they choose to create physical life in things you see. Now, to explain that, what I just did to somebody who is religified, they're going to describe me the way they describe Jesus and say, this guy was a God. He explained death. He did things that no one ever did, and it was simple. Everyone could grasp it. He's a God. And it's because of the perspective. It's stuck in religion. So we have to understand, when you read in Chem writing and you read in the Enuma Elish, you don't get that religion type of God in a man's sense in the script. You just get straight history when you read in those two. But when you're reading the Quran, the Torah, the Bible, You're getting it, the same history from that point in time, being told from the perspective of motherfuckers who are completely consumed into different kinds of religions, the same way we are today. So you have to understand our perspectives is just completely fucked. And this is why when we read these books, we separate them. We say this is inaccurate because it's not inaccurate. The person who told the story wasn't inaccurate. He was just religified. He couldn't see anything outside of religion the way people do now. So if a motherfucker hit the lotto in today's times, he would retell the story saying, God made me hit the lotto. I swear God gave me the numbers and so on and so forth. Now, is he lying? No, he really did hit the numbers and he really did have the right things. Now, as far as God go, that's his perspective and he can have that. It's not my duty to tell him you're lying about the God part. It's just my duty to distract the history that he just told, which is he hit the motherfucking lotto. And this is what we have to do when we're reading these books. Learn how to separate the religion from the history that is in the books. Now, I'm going to give you an example of how everyone's perspective is fucked up. Look at Revelations chapter 6, verse 8. I'm going to read it. This is what it says. It says, and I looked and beheld a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed him, and power over 1/4 of the world was given to them, to kill and with sword, hunger, and with death, and with the beast of the earth. Now, people think these things are talking about the ending times and like literal. They take this literal. Some people take it as other things. Now, I'm gonna break down to you exactly what that is telling you. That is telling you when white people hit the scene. It is telling you the releasing. It's telling you the effect white people had on the earth when they first hit the motherfucking scene. Now that I've said that, now let's read the text again of white people hitting the scene. Now let's read it and see if your perspective is different. And I looked and beheld a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed him, and power over 1/4 of the world was given to them, to kill with sword, to kill with hunger, to kill with death, and with the beast of the earth. That is speaking of a nation of people, white people. If you think I don't know what I'm talking about, let's go to chapter 6, verse 4. This is describing the race of black people. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon, to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given to them a great sword or weapon. That is the black race. Verse 6. Listen, man, y'all niggas, y'all perspective of things is so distorted that any knowledge y'all get, y'all are gonna mind fuck yourself. And this is what I be trying to tell y'all. I am enlightened. It's not ego. It's not me saying, ha, I'm smart and you're not. You have to really open your mind and look at yourself and say, yo, the young boy just said real shit. These niggas telling y'all about these texts, they don't know what they talking about. Their perspective is wrong. And this is not talking about people who don't follow the Bible. This is talking about the people who follow the Bible. Y'all read this and y'all do not understand it. Mind you, it is simple. It is right in your face, broad as day. How can you not see that the pale horse is the pale race? How can you not see that the red horse is the... Come on, what is wrong with y'all? Blood. When blood dries up, what color is it? because it's not red. It's brownish reddish, the color of a black man. We call ourselves black. In those times, they didn't call each other. Nobody was black. I'd never seen somebody black, and you haven't either. You might have seen the nigga dark blue, but you ain't never seen the nigga black. And this is my point. We get confused when we see things like red. Whoa, that ain't talking about no people. People are red. Malcolm fucking X's name was red. Y'all got to wake up. Y'all perception is all fucking wrong. Y'all need to read all of these books. If you're not in religion, it's best you read all these books because you could grasp the point better than a Christian because the religion has hold of them. So they're reading it the same way the motherfuckers that wrote it perspective was. They was religion-fied out too. So they wrote it in that sense. But that's not to say what they wrote was inaccurate. That is to say what they wrote was through the perspective of them. And they was fucking choked out by religion. So when they're writing it, they like, oh, that was the word of God and God did this. So you see in the Bible when they going to war with each other and King David is going to war with this person and that person and he conquering the cities and they like, oh, the Lord God is with us. This is how they lived back then. It's like now, everybody got their own religion, their own God. So when motherfuckers is going to war against each other, they like, yeah, my God is real and your God is make believe, blase. But that's only because they in religion and they are not completely enlightened to understand what life, man, and all this is. So when they're retelling the story, they're adding that into it. Is that wrong? I can't tell a man don't add God like that into history. Because at the end of the day, he's not altering the history when he does that. Because I know the man that wrote it, that's his perspective. It's just like if somebody telling you a story of something that happened in daytimes that you witnessed and they say, oh, God did that. You ain't gonna sit there and argue with them and be like, God didn't do that. You like, yeah, that shit happened. I know that happened. But as far as God go, that's on you. I'm going to tell a story without the God part. But the story is real story. The shit is actual factuals. And this is how the Bible is. This is how the Anu Militia is. This is how Kim writing is. This is how the Torah is. This is how the Quran is. So you got to understand, the Quran is covering a point of time from about 100 AD to about 1000 AD. So when they speaking about Muhammad and the angel Gabriel gave him the Quran, recited it to him, our perspective is fucking it up. This is why we don't grasp things. Because in our mind, an angel is some spiritual being. Mind you, angel means messenger. So that's all it's saying. So it's just like the story in the Bible with Sodom and Gomorrah and Lot. And the angels came and they gave Lot that message. See, your perspective is fucked up because you see angel with some weirdo shit. Mind you, angel means messenger. So in the story of Lot, all it's saying is the messengers came and gave Lot the goddamn message. We gotta wake up. We gotta understand what we're reading. You get what I'm saying? This shit is not hard. We're hard. We're confusing. This shit is all simple. You gotta understand what a messenger is. It's not like the fucking mailman today. The messenger, there was no mailman or no goddamn phone where you could speak to a nigga from far. So if you sent a messenger to give a motherfucker a message, messengers was the most enlightened. Put it like this: messengers was the motherfuckers who had all the secrets and all the fucking stories and histories of things that was going on. Because all of these things was entrusted in them. Motherfuckers is sending messengers to tell niggas secrets and business and all types of things. So messengers knew a lot. So when you speaking angels, you're speaking someone who has a lot of knowledge. A man, a physical man. But we are all like angels when we're not in the physical, meaning we are spiritual beings. So this is where we confuse ourselves when we read in this and we like, oh, the people in Sodom and Gomorrah wanted to fuck two angels. No, they wanted to fuck two men. They were fucking gay. And this is why, for some reason, that city was destroyed. Because they was doing shit that was going to spread out into the whole world. And it had to be stopped. Now, the people that wrote that story down, that witnessed these things, they was into religion. So they said God sent fire and brimstone down on that city. But that don't necessarily mean that you have to go with that part to grasp that somebody lit that motherfucking city up into ash. And messengers was sent to save a few motherfuckers that lived in that town and let them know, yo, y'all better get the fuck out of here because we about to light this shit up. And that is the history of the stories, minus the bullshit. You can't tell a man his perspective on God is wrong. All you need to do is get the history. The same way you would do if you talking to a man now. You know if a motherfucker's a liar and he telling you some shit, you know what part is a lie and what part is truth, because you know that he telling you it from his perspective. Now, we all know Paul was a drunk motherfucker. So we got to understand, when Paul is telling the story of Jesus, it's being told from the perspective of a motherfucker who is wrapped into religion and he's a drunk. So you not getting a lie, you just getting the story from a drunk, religified motherfucker. Matthew, Mark, all these motherfuckers was deep into religion. So when Jesus came along, he was like God to them, because this is what religion does to you. It fucks up your perspective. You start to think everything is like some old, just like Jesus turning water into wine. It don't say how long the process took. So we confuse ourselves to say, oh, that's some old magical bullshit. That's why the Bible will lie. He turned water to wine. You keep mind you, niggas in jail turn rice into hooch. Niggas in jail turn rice into motherfucking alcohol. Now, 2,000 years from now, you niggas say, oh, that boy Jesus Christ turned rice into wine. Motherfuckers gonna be like, oh, that's some bullshit. Mind you, it's because y'all ain't taking into account that ain't nobody said how long this took. Nobody said what was did to make the water become wine. And now you start to look at things from your perspective of, oh, this is fairy tale hocus pocus. And if you were part of the religion, you start to try to defend the fairy tale hocus pocus as opposed to just saying, whoa, hold up. Let's remember, anything that was written by a man. And he's writing it from his perspective. That don't mean that the history wrong. It just means that either he was a religious motherfucker, so he gonna include God in doing everything, or he not a religious motherfucker and he just gonna tell a story without that part on it. But however you cut it, the story is still the same. And this is all our history, and we have to start reading all of these books through the right perspective. And can't nobody say I'm bugging. Go back and read everything. See, anyone can say, I'm enlightened, I understand. But then when they go to say what they're saying to other people, some are grabs, those that follow them are grabs. A lot of others won't. Some be over here doing this. It's a goddamn fact. Anything, what I'm saying, or anything I say, motherfuckers understand what I'm saying. Now, if a nigga wanna play dumb, that's a whole nother thing. But I break it down simple. So you get what I'm saying. It's on you if you want to take it. And this is what we have to understand when I say you got to reach from the earth and your experiences to get your knowledge. Because knowledge ain't in no book, and God is not in no book. God don't need to write books. Life is God writings. That's the writings of God. You and all other life you see. So this is how God communicate. God don't need no goddamn book. You're not going to find God in no book. You're not going to get closer to God through no book. Why? Because you are already a piece of God living, manifested physically. So you don't need to look in no book. You're not going to find God in a book. What you're going to find in a book is men's perspectives on God. And if these men were not enlightened enough to break it down, then they're going to tell it like as if God is a goddamn man. But the events that happen is going to be accurate. So we got to understand this, man. This shit is very simple. Very simple. It all boils down to perspective and the way you perceive things. That simple. It don't take a rocket scientist to get none of this or nothing like that. You just have to be at a certain level of enlightenment. This is not a game. This is not a joke. I see a lot of brothers kicking knowledge, and I know they truly do not understand. I do not say that out of ego. I am truly enlightened on a whole nother level that none of y'all can grasp. In y'all mind, this is a joke. He's just a little more sharper than everybody else. Shit is way deeper than me being sharper than anybody. Y'all truly do not get it. This is not a competition. Who is cheese sharper than this guy? Do not compare me to anybody. They are all lost. They do not understand. I understand. I'm not, anybody could say they understand, but can he express his understanding to you? This is where the true understanding lies. It's nothing I can't explain to you. I get it. So it's no problem for me to explain it. Now you got to ask yourself, and like I said, this is not ego. These is real, actual, factual questions you should be asking yourself. Why can he explain death? And it ain't even about explaining death. But why can he explain death so goddamn simple? To where anybody can grasp it, whether you want to believe in it or not. Why do he keep speaking on things that no one else is speaking on? Or why is he speaking on things that's been complex all this time that other men been trying to explain, and he come along and explain it, and it makes perfect goddamn sense, even if I don't want to accept it. See, like I said, you got to get tapped into the earth. All knowledge, any questions you have about life has already been instilled in you. You have already experienced them. Someone has already told you the answers, etc., etc. You have already experienced and been told and seen anything, any question you have, you've seen, experienced, and witnessed the answer to any question you have. But see, the problem is we do like what's going to happen now. See, I'm giving the truth. Some will take it, some won't, but all heard it. So now the truth is instilled in you. So now when I say the truth is in you and anything that you need the answers to have been told to you or you've experienced it, just think all your life of everything you've ever heard. Some things you say, that's bullshit, I'm not listening to that. And that could have been your answer to something that you have a question on. But you got it in the garbage pile. It's still in you, but it's in the garbage pile as this is useless information. So you're only using the information that you value as right, as opposed to someone like me. I'm enlightened. So anything I experience or see, I don't put nothing in the trash bin. Something that's dumb to you, that's foolish to you, will answer 50,000 questions for a guy like me. Because I understand how this works and what being tapped into the earth is and what reaching from your experiences is. I understand when I was 3 and 4, things was told to me that I couldn't perceive then, but it was still in me. And when I became 25, those things from 3 years old, I was able to reach back into my intellect and say, yo, that fucking shit that happened to me when I was 3 is answering what's going on with me right now at 25. What is life? Then when I got shot and whoop-de-whoop happened, that's the answer to that. So this is how, but y'all throw away information. Like a lot of y'all gonna put this shit right here in the trash bin. Then you're gonna be searching through books and talking to other men looking for your answers. Mind you, you've all heard motherfuckers tell you, all the answers are in you. They are within you. That's what that means. You've heard, seen, and experienced many things, and you ignore half of that shit. But there lies the answers to questions you may have in life. Understand, God is life, God is consciousness, and everything that's life and consciousness comes from that consciousness. There is no separation. You don't have to look for God. You are God. God is the goddamn electricity tower. And all the light poles are connected to that electricity plant, no matter how many miles away from it they are. And this is how we are with God. And when that goddamn light pole go out, the energy to that light pole is going to slide through the wires back to the plant. Please, my people, let's get our understanding up. As y'all see, I gave y'all a nice full video. Please, please think on what I said. Perspective, it's everything. Your boy, Jesus Christ. And from this video forward, as y'all see on my Facebook my Facebook page, I changed my name. From this day forward, I'm going by the name Solace. If you don't know what Solace means, look it up. But that will be my name from this day forward. That is the name that the earth provided me with. I know I'm over y'all heads because y'all truly don't understand the enlightenment. But you look in my eyes, you hear my voice, you know I'm speaking from my heart. I'm speaking from truth. This ain't no written in book shit. This real life actual factuals. My proof can be seen. So let's understand, however you may feel. From today forth, the name is Solace. All videos will be under Solace. I'm going to leave what's on YouTube and what's up as Jesus Christ. But from tomorrow forward, it'll be Solace. It's your boy, Jesus Christ. Stop being mind fucked.